Well, we're going to go from weird to weirder, so
Right, shall I do the intro? Are we doing you? Like
we're doing me, yeah.
You
You can do Link as much as you want.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Heal Project. We are back with another episode of Theory Thursday. Last week we had me with Bohemian Grove. Make sure if you haven't already, go back to that video. Leave comments on what you think Bohemian Grove is. Is it weird? Is it rich? Is it a satanic ritual place? Is it just a club like Link kind of said? But speaking of Link, we have Link's Theory Thursday this week. And Link, what do you have? Because I do not know. You are the person that collates all of our theories. So you know what everyone has leading up to it, but you just don't know what detail they go into. What have you got?
Hi everyone, can I just please ask you to like the video for me whilst we're here? And then maybe subscribe if you haven't already. And if you don't like it, you can always reverse those decisions later, can't you? Back to the content. Bye!
Seaweed is always greener in somebody else's lake.
I thought we were done with Disney.
We are going to talk about mermaids.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Are
going
they
to be that
little
guy.
ones?
I'm
We're
okay.
going to talk about mermaids. Do you know what? We will mention the Little Mermaids. Maybe we weren't completely done with Disney. I was wrong. Right. Mermaids, sirens, aquatic apes. Whatever you prefer to call them, the idea that mermaids swam through the vast oceans has been alive and well among us for thousands of years. In fact, the conspiracy theory that mermaids are real and world governments know about them are keeping their existence secret still persists today. In 2012, the Discovery Channel released a mockumentary, so fake, just keep that in mind, called Mermaids, the Body Found. That set off social media frenzy. There was some confusion about the veracity of the documentary, but it was eventually revealed that the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA.
Okay. 10 times
Sorry.
fast.
Yeah, easier for other people to say, obviously.
Noir.
Scientists were actually just paid actors. The real NOAA eventually released a statement saying that no evidence of aquatic humanoids has ever been found. Still, that hasn't stopped amateur web sleuths from trying to discover the mythical species of ocean-dwelling creatures. Even now, several TikTok users constantly share what they believe to be footage proving that mermaids are out there. One thing we know for certain is that there are several deep-sea species that we haven't yet discovered. In fact, scientists estimate that a whopping 91% of the ocean critters still remain to be classified, while 80% of our oceans are unmapped, unobserved, and unexplored. And for some, that's enough room for doubt that maybe, just maybe, mermaids could be among the great unknown. Mermaids, those half-human, half-fish sirens of the sea, are legendary creatures that chronicled in maritime cultures since time immemorable. Oh, God. The ancient Greek epic poet Homer wrote of them in the Odyssey not Homer Simpson.
No.
In the ancient Far East, mermaids are the wives of powerful sea dragons and served as trusted messengers between their spouses and the emperors on land. The Aboriginal people of Australia called the mermaids
I want to hear this.
Yorks.
York.
Yawks. Yorks.
Not Gorks.
Yauks. It's something like that anyway. A name that may refer to their mesmerizing songs. The belief in mermaids may have arisen at the very dawn of our species. Magical female figures first appear in cave paintings in the late Paleolithic Stone Age
It's a hard one to say.
period, some 30,000 years ago. Mythical female figures. I'm just reading the same thing again. Modern humans gained dominion over the land and presumably began to sail the seas. Half human creatures called chimeras also abound in mythology. And in addition to mermaids, there was centaurs, wild satyrs,
Oh, that is.
and frightful minotaurs. to name but a few. But are mermaids real? It is fairly common knowledge that the world is made up of mostly water, and of all the oceans and bodies of water in the world, we have only been able to explore less than 5% of it. This fact has led many people, from conspiracy theorists, normal people, and even scientists, to believe the existence of mermaids. Although they may not believe that they are typically fairy tale mermaids with beautiful hair, long tails, swimming around in ocean, they do believe that there is some sort of human-like creature that exists in the ocean. This belief was popular in the 70s and 80s with the rise of the aquatic ape theory, and later died, but recently a lot of information about this belief can be widely found on the internet, and there seems to have been an increase in popularity of this conspiracy videos on YouTube, and many YouTubers have touched on this subject. Animal Planet have also come out with a documentary in 2012 that raised awareness to the possibility of the existence of mermaids, with Mermaids, the Body Found, and increased the popularity of this belief. This is considered an extraordinary belief because it contradicts our current belief that humans evolved from primates, which are land animals and not adapted to live in the sea. How could there be human-like creatures living in the ocean? In centuries past, the oceans was thought to be full of krakens, sea serpents, sea monsters, and other fantastic creatures. They helped to bring the mysterious ocean into more familiar realm of the known. By introducing human traits and an element of storytelling, one creature that shows up in such stories throughout history is the mermaid. Mermaid mythology is quite varied, with mermaids taking on many different appearances, origins, and personalities. The first recorded half-fish, half-human creature is Oannes, a Babylon god from the 4th century BCE, who would leave the sea every day and return at night. Through the ancient Greek sirens, who lured sailors to their deaths in Homer's Odyssey, were originally described as having bird bodies. They are often portrayed as fish-tailed mermaids, so frequently that variations of the word siren means mermaid in many languages. Although these sirens had vicious personalities, as did mermaids in J.M. Barrie's Peter Pan, some versions of mermaids kind, such as Hans Christian Andersen's The Little Mermaid. I told you we'd mention it.
That's the same
made
guy.
famous by Disney's 1989 popular film iteration of the same name, same story. When Christopher Columbus set out to sea in 1492, he had a mermaid sighting of his own. Little did we know at the time that this encounter was actually the first written record of manatees in North America. Discuss.
Well, for a start, I didn't know that the same person did Frozen as they did
Yeah, I
Little
knew
Mermaid.
it, but I didn't put it together.
Good one, Pete. Good one. So the thing is, are mermaids real? Correct.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, boobies. No, I guess.
If Reggae Shark is, then why can't
Get
mermaids
out.
be?
Just get out.
So for me,
What did you say was discovered in 2012?
No, nothing was discovered in 2012,
There
mate.
was a
There was a mockumentary.
Yeah, mockumentary.
Came out
Okay.
entitled "Mermaid: The Body Found."
yes, I mean
Right.
you can't really probably read it up too much into that, can you? If it's a mockumentary.
No, it was confirmed fake.
To me, what was the numbers for the sea?
It's less than 5% explored, but let me find the actual. Yeah, there was quite a lot in here. 80% of our oceans are unmapped, unobserved, and unexplored. In fact, there is an estimated 91% of ocean critters remain to be classified.
A lot.
It's a lot in it.
Well, you consider how many ocean creatures we already know about,
And 91%.
and that's not
we
even
don't.
10%.
So for me,
That's a lot.
what? how would we have mermaids? So obviously through the cycle of evolution, if it's half man, half fish, is it what we came from fish and
So
they're only half
a
evolved?
little bit of the aquatic ape theory, because I did look into it. A little bit of the aquatic ape theory is the fact that obviously the theory is that we came from apes from down from trees, and we hunted on land rather than up in the trees, because there was overpopulation in the trees, so we had to find a new food source, so we came to land. The theory is that then we overpopulated the land, and we ended up out at sea as well, or was hunting in like rivers and lakes and like on shorelines and things. The supporting evidence for this is the fact that humans are mostly hairless, which makes us have less drag in water, so it makes us better to swim. And also the fact that we get wrinkly fingertips and things in water, which is good for grip, underwater grip, and to grip things in water. One of the theories, like detractors from that, is the reason that we have that as an evolutionary trait is so that when we were fishing before we had rods and things, it was so we could actually grab fish in water and be able to get grip on them because of the skin.
Okay.
There is some science behind it as well. It's not just a crackpot theory.
So I heard it's not even a theory. It's this thing that's sort of been kind of proven that now that humans, Homo sapiens, I guess, were actually living alongside Neanderthals. And since records began, I think since everything that's been documented in the world, we've only documented 2% of the human species of like its time. So there's 98% of the rest of that time available. So did we overpopulate and spread in seas and rivers? My heart says there's got to be a chance. There's got to be a chance.
I'll be honest, I've never ever thought about it away from the whole fairy tale kind of. I've never even considered it anything else. Never even put any thought into it. So if I'd looked it up and put a bit of thought into it, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I've never ever looked at it past that.
So for me, why is it that we only think of mermaids as female as well? Because if it's that, it's half man, half human, half fish. They'd be males, but why?
I mean, let's be honest.
Fun thought.
Let's be honest.
I suppose you got Aquaman, I guess.
I think it's just because of that's because of the siren side of things, where they were seen as luring people to their death with their beauty, and that's mainly stuff that's coming because of fairy tales.
Yeah. So, for the record, I think like the sirens and all that, I think a lot of people them luring them in is complete bollocks. It's that's just people being at sea for too long, losing their minds, and ended up just crashing because they're tired, they're drunk, they're just not right in the mind. They got cabin fever, whatever. But for me, I do you know what? The number of percentage that hasn't been undiscovered or believed to be undiscovered, I'm gonna go yeah. I'm gonna go fuck it. I'm gonna go yeah. Somewhere out there is half human, half fish, or even the other way round.
I was about to say, can you imagine a fish body
in the sea though? Like that would be very, very
walking around.
Imagine that though. That's because they actually walk on the seabed, the lower seabeds that we cannot reach or we haven't got to yet. Yeah, because they walk around on human legs.
Another
how they can breathe underwater.
Another theory in favour of it as well is the fact that a lot of human, even yourself, you'll probably have some webbing between your fingers and your toes, not massively, but some.
Yeah, I do.
And also your when babies are born, instinctively they know how to swim. So that's also part of the arguments as well.
Phil. Yes.
He's like, wow.
Let's have some insight. Come on. You can't just sit there.
To get me,
can't just have a live
from you. All wrinkly and try and grab a fish out of my tank. See if it helps with the grip.
I think that was the bit that baffled Phil.
It all baffled me, to be fair. It's not for me. Absolutely not. No,
I've only ever seen them as fairy tales and Little Mermaid.
I think
really sort of like
look, we call them mermaids because that's the mythical name.
Yeah.
But I think it's the theory of the aquatic ape, which is one that you need to be looking at here, rather than calling them mermaids. So distinguish yourself away from the idea of the fairy tale mermaids, and think more about the possibility of an evolutionary chain of mammals that went to water instead of land.
I've never ever thought of it like that, but I suppose it's possible.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's just,
I was going to say, none of us are sorry to them, but I don't really care. None of us are Bible bashers here, so we're all of the theory that evolution is the answer. So I mean, for terms of us, just the theory of evolution sort of dictates it kind of must do. No, I feel like it should. Like the whole. No, I'm going to get the wrong one here. Charles Darwin, I know he said Dickens. That would have been the wrong one. Charles Darwin with the whole the different birds that they evolve based on what they finch, depending on what they hunt. So the ones that needed to get stuff out of trees, they needed to long pointy beaks, etc., depending on what they were hunting. So to survive, to evolve, to go to the water more, to live more, spend more time in the water eventually. Yeah. It's not too ridiculous. It's not.
Look, my main argument for this one, because I mean, there's obviously multiple against. You know, we've been at the ocean for God knows how long, and surely if we saw so much back then, we'd see it now.
Yeah.
So my argument against is that basically it's like, well, why were we seeing it then and not now? Why is that changed? My argument for is 91% of all sea creatures that we've not categorized. We find something new in the ocean every single day. Every single day. You know, the giant squid didn't exist until about 20 years ago. Like, you know, there were tales of the kraken and the giant squids and things there, but it didn't exist, and it was seen as folklore and fake and not real until about 20 years ago when they actually discovered them being a real thing and living.
The only thing that I can think that is causing me problems to go, actually maybe not, is that they die. They would likely wash up on a beach somewhere, likely to, and they would over time be fossilized. Yeah, the fact that we've not found any fossils that are I'm fairly sure that's true, isn't it? We haven't found a fossil that is like that, have we? That's the thing that makes me go.
The same could be said though for squids, like the giant squid.
Yeah, but if
there was no evidence for giant squids before we found giant squids.
Okay, but I don't know how, because a giant squid's is made of different stuff, isn't it? It's consists of a different
It's got a different consistency.
If we're basing it on the fact that it's a aqua ape, they're going to have a similar structure to us, and obviously you find.
Yes and no. So I mean, an argument for that is that yes, they would have had at some point the same bone structure and density as we do.
Is the thing.
But if they live below the ocean, or if they live like right down in the deeps of the ocean,
then they might not.
Our body structure wouldn't last in those conditions, so they've had to evolve to change to those conditions.
Okay. Yeah. No, there is that.
So they'll have different structures. You know, it's.
Yeah.
I think the fossil thing's a really good shout though, because you know fossils are discovered all the time.
Is a very good argument.
They don't know where to go to find them either. So you would think something remotely similar would have come up at some point in time.
The thing is, for sea creatures though, fossils for sea creatures mostly are the ones that we find are from Jurassic and Triassic periods, and basically prehistoric periods when dinosaurs, because the oceans have moved into new areas. So it's where the oceans used to be. This is where we find the skeletons and the fossils for the giant sea creatures that we have found.
Yeah.
God knows how many sea creatures are still in the ocean that we have never found fossils for, that there still are fossils for in the bottom of the oceans because we've just never been there.
It's an interesting one.
So for me, yeah, I'd lean to yes, but still very skeptical as such.
I'm interested to look into it a bit more. Like I said, I've never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
But it's got me thinking.
Good.
Just on a side note, before we wrap this up, octopuses are aliens.
Okay.
We'll see you. We'll see you in about 4 weeks' time. Yeah. And we will catch you in the next one with either Phil or Pete.
You enjoyed my premiere. Peace.
No bye then, Phil. No.
Bye.
Well, there's the after credits fucking scene straight away. Jesus Christ.